here for this long-awaited announcement. I would like to, I am Donna Simons. I own A Candle in the Night, and I am the president and one of the founding members of Building a Better Brattleboro. I'd like to introduce to you, some of our board members are here, but I'd like you all to, to know who they are, because it has been a very long, thorough process, and these volunteers have given a lot of time and a lot of thought and agony to this decision. Jacob Roberts is not with us today. He's from Equilibrium and Superfresh Organic Cafe. He's a new member of our community, and he has jumped in wholeheartedly to support, become part of BABB and part of the community. David Brown, Better Homes and Gardens, the Massiello Group Real Estate. I don't believe David's here. Woody, Woody is here. Bob Woodworth, owner of Burroughs Specialized Sports and the Union Block. Alex Jory, general manager of the Brattleboro Food Co-op. Kate O'Connor, vice president of Building a Better Brattleboro. Allison Wendt, who couldn't be with us this morning. She's the marketing director of Stevens & Associates, and Allison has been instrumental in guiding this process, and I thank her very much. We all do. And Jim Berzino, Brattleboro Planning Commissioner and locally based environmental systems consultant. I also, Tariq Chaudhry, systems manager, Fibermark North America, Inc., and Sean Connolly, Associate Dean for Graduate and Professional Studies, Marlborough College. I hope I didn't forget anybody. If I did, my apologies. It's taken a long time to get to this announcement. I'd like to just, if you'll indulge me for a minute, go back to the early days of Building a Better Brattleboro and the inception and of this building and the build and the people who were involved. As most of you know, Pal Borowski and Stephen Baker founded Building a Better Brattleboro. It was at a time where there were storefront vacancies all over town, most of them concentrated in the downtown area. They decided it was time to start yet another downtown organization to see if we could fill all the vacant spaces. The philosophy was, if the center of town was vital, with storefronts filled, then it would spread out through the town, that the downtown area is the heart of any community. They called me and asked me to join them. Greg Warden, who at the time, who is the owner of Vermont Artisans and Artisan in Design, and at the time was a member of the select board, and Dave Spencer, retired volunteer who is no longer with us, but I'm sure he's up there somewhere helping us. The five of us met for quite a while, and Pal and Steve went out in the community, raised funds, and we all invited other community members to volunteer with us for this project. One of the people we asked to join us was Leo Berman, a local architect, the owner of the Hooker Dunham building and the Paramount building, as well as some other buildings in town. Leo had a long and knowledgeable experience with downtown revitalization, and he brought the idea of this building to the board. At the time, those of you who are in town might remember that it was a Rite Aid right in the center of this major intersection that was rather utilitarian and some considered ugly. And Leo brought an idea to the community, to BABB, to rehab, partially rebuild this building and make it a year-round park as a phase one project. The second part of the project after the building, if we chose to go forward with the building, would be a walkway down to the river. At the time, there was a lot of discussion everywhere within Windham Regional, within the Connecticut River Scenic Byway, about opening up Main Street to the river, that Brattleboro had turned its back during its industrial time, as all New England towns did, turned its back to the river, and we needed to reopen the river to everybody. So long story short, I won't get into all of it. Leo proposed this project. It went out to several different people. Leo was awarded the project. The concept was that we would create a walkway from Main Street to the Connecticut River. It would have public bathrooms, and it would be supported as with businesses that we hoped would be incubator businesses. Offer people an opportunity to set up a store inside the building, hopefully grow their businesses, and then move them to empty store spaces. Unfortunately, it didn't work. It didn't cash flow. There were problems, number one being air conditioning in my mind. And that's another long story because we received a lot of public money to build this building, but unfortunately it was built at a time when construction costs exploded, and we had to cut back on certain things, one being the atrium was initially supposed to go all the way back, and number two, air conditioning. Number three, the floors initially were going to be slate. They're now something that reminds one of slate, but they're very difficult to clean. When the concept failed to have little incubator businesses be in the River Garden, it then became vacant. And over the years, it's been used for public events and all sorts of wonderful things, but I think along the way the public has lost sight of the fact that this building, although an asset to our community, was never meant to totally be available to the public at all times. It was meant to be a walkway, a connection from Main Street to the Connecticut River, a concept sort of like the Faneuil Hall in Boston. But over the years, because the business plan failed, I think the community has embraced the notion that it was always meant to be their community building. And from my point of view, and I think a lot of people's points of view, that was never the case. But we do have this wonderful building. Some people curse it, some people love it. There have been great events here, and but BABB has never been able to really support the building, but without contributing some of our funds. And that brings me to today. It's been a long journey. It has absorbed a lot of the money that Pal Borowski and Stephen Baker raised initially to support downtown revitalization. Funds from our downtown investment district have been used to support the building. Many organizations and individuals over the years have really stepped up to the plate to try to help us to stem the flow of money and to make this building cash flow. It has never worked. Whether it's been because committees shouldn't be running buildings, I don't know. And so we come to today. BABB in December made a second time made a decision that we needed to divest ourselves of this building so that we could focus on downtown vitalization, which never stays the same. It is always changing. An organization needs to be well funded, and it needs to have the ability to respond at any given moment to things like fires and floods. And this building has hampered BABB's effort to respond in the way that we would like to have responded. I'd like to give a few thank yous out there to some people before I make the big announcement. We'd first like to thank Senator Leahy for initially coming forward and securing funds to build this building. Vince Aluzzi, in the Vermont legislature at the time, Senator Aluzzi was instrumental in securing the very last portion to put this building together. Our governor, who was not governor at the time, Peter Shumlin, I can't say enough about how he expended a lot of his political clout in order to champion this building, and he continues to be such an important cheerleader for Brattleboro. All of the Vermont legislature over the past 12 plus years that we've been at it have been wonderful. Jeanette White recently helped us, guide us to basically relieving BABB from a commitment for that last $150 that we were able to get to to secure. The Gibson family, whose name appears on this building, have been supportive all along. Leo Berman, obviously, who I think is another one of the people looking down on us, smiling today, I hope. Ted Kramer, who was the first president of Building a Better Brattleboro and shepherded so much of the initial legislative and legal papers and process. Larry Cassidy, who again was on our board and who was instrumental in working behind the scenes to secure funding, along with Greg Warden. The USDA, John Max Muse is here. He has been such help to all of us. When we initially bought this building, Rite Aid gave us a mortgage, and then at a later date, through a process, USDA gave us another mortgage at a favorable rate, and we were able to pay off the Rite Aid, and we continue to this day, obviously, to pay off the mortgage to USDA. There were problems in this building besides just the financially draining situation we had. We had problems with our roof. Part of just the maintenance and upkeep of this building was a big reason we were not able to cash flow this facility. And again, the USDA, we applied for a grant. They came through with the grant. We were able to fix the roof. I'm happy to report that since that time, there has been no leaking, and I can give you lots of horror stories of events in here when all of a sudden the roof started to leak and people's, events were ruined and products were ruined, but we won't go there. These are just the little headaches that we've had over the years. Art Greenbaum has given his time whenever we've had problems and come in and helped us fix things. I would like to really thank Art for everything that he has done for us over the years. The Rotary has come in and painted. They helped us make the storage areas downstairs. Over all the years, this community has been so generous to Building a Better Brattleboro in trying to help us with this building. I would also like to really thank heartfully the class, the Brattleboro Union High School class of 1961, who donated the deck. That is an asset. People use it every day. It is the connection between Main Street and the river, and they step forward to try to be part of this revitalization in downtown Brattleboro. I don't know if I've left anybody out. I certainly hope that I didn't, and if I did, I apologize. So I'll now get to the process of making the decision. It was very difficult. We know that members of our community very, very strongly, and actually in some really pushy ways, tried to influence us to keep this whole building as a public space. And in our request for proposals, our number one, as we rated things, our number one rating was to keep the building open to the public, so that the public had access to the deck and the public had access to the private bathrooms. We received 3 proposals, and I have to tell you, all 3 of them were fabulous. No matter who was the winner, or I'm not sure after all of this that you win if you take over the River Garden, but nonetheless. The chosen proposals were really fabulous. There were no losers, there were no iffies. So we went through proposals. The board met twice to vote. It was very close. But in the end, I think that the reason that we arrived at this choice is our intense desire to keep the intent of the building, a public space, access from Main Street to the river, to assure that that would be part of the continuing legacy of the River Garden, drove this decision. And so I am very proud to announce that BABB is selling this building to the Strolling of the Heifers. will be some who are disappointed. Part of the decision process was not easy because downtown vitalization is not easy. As I mentioned, it's always changing. So which of these proposals would have brought more feet to the street? Which of these proposals would have been best for all the downtown merchants and property owners was very, very difficult. For those of you who don't know, I participated somewhat because I'm the president, but I sit on both of these boards, so I did not vote, and I tried not to be too influential in either of these. So I believe that going forward, the Strolling of the Heifers will shepherd this building well into the 21st century. They will be very, very kind to our community. They will work effortlessly to make sure that they bring more vitality to this building and make it something that our whole community can be proud of. I was hoping Orly, I don't know what time it is, Orly knows. I will tell you this, so she won't be here for 15 minutes. So we do have a few members of the Strolling of the Heifers here. I thought it would take longer to make this announcement, so I'll move on a little bit. In the Strolling of the Heifers proposal, they have in mind to partner with Building a Better Brattleboro, and I digress for just a minute to say that the details of this transfer are still being worked out, and we will let you know the exact details when we know them. But because the decision had been made, and this is a small community, we felt we needed to come forward and let everybody know what our decision was before it came through the back channels and people had information that was not correct, and yet we had more people mad at us for what we did do and what we didn't do. So we are not finalized in our exact negotiations, but I can tell you this at this point, the Strolling of the Heifers wants to partner with Building a Better Brattleboro. They want us to maintain a relationship with them to assure that this building will be more successful, available to the public, and bring people in every day who want to visit downtown Brattleboro and get information about the farming community. It will remain a waypoint center. The plaque about the Robert H. Gibson River Garden will remain. The name will remain. The plaque for a deck of 1961 will remain. I don't think that there will be a lot of changes. That most people who know this building will only see changes for the good. I'm hoping that I am not, that this decision does not hamper the Strolling of the Heifers the way it has hampered BABB, but I doubt that it will. It is a dynamic organization led by one of the dynamos of our world in Orly Munzing. She will never, ever rest if this building is not successful. So I think we're all pleased to be able to pass it along. So with that, I think we'll take some questions, and maybe Orly will be early. She's a very prompt person. Oh, someone's going to get her right now, because I'd like Orly to say a few things to you. How about some questions? Anybody, especially the press, if the press has any questions. Tim?
Donna, thank you for letting us know. How does BABB's mission change now that you have divested, or will be divesting the River Garden?
Well, I don't, it won't change. The mission of any downtown is to shepherd the community into being a vital part. I mean, the downtown area, a vital part of the community, and we have been trying to do that over the years. I'd like to remind you all that besides this building, it was a BABB project that built Plenty Park. That was shepherded by another board member, Bob Stevens, who, as you know, is part of the Masabi group and will be redoing the Brooks House. So Tim, I think that there will be no change in our mission. I think there will be a lot of change in the fact that we will have more time and money to devote to the workings of downtown Brattleboro. And I'd like to remind everybody that Building a Better Brattleboro is not a private organization. It depends on volunteers. I'd like to thank Dick DeGray and Missy Galanis for their amazing work in putting the flowers out in downtown. We received a grant from the Richards, a pledge from the Richards group to support part of the plantings. I think it looks great, and I can tell you that Dick and Missy put in a lot of time. Every Wednesday night, if not more often, you can see them working to plant, to fix what vandals mess up, to add more pots. BABB is funding this process. So I think it's only up and up for all of our downtown community that we're going to be relieved of the day-to-day operations of this building.
Can you clarify, is the stroll buying, or are they going to manage it?
Well, no, they're going to be the owners of the building, but that, we have a process that we have to go through. We have a mortgage to the USDA, and because trying to keep the choice quiet has been challenging, and we have not reached out to the USDA to tell them. They know the plan. They knew that we were trying to divest, but they have their own guidelines for public-private sale on this mortgage. And until the announcement was made, we really didn't feel that it was fair to negotiate or to contact them and try to figure out how we go forward. So there are two parts to this. Number one is the mortgage, and number two is the grant. And I received a call from the USDA when the stroll announced that they were going to be submitting a proposal. And I had a brief conversation that it shouldn't be a problem if it goes to an organization that has a similar mission. And if anything, I think the strolling of the heifers, probably when you think about the acronym USDA, I think that the strolling of the heifers fits the requirements perhaps more than BABB. So we will go down that route, and that's why I say we haven't negotiated the final details because there are still questions out there.
So how much was it costing BABB annually to maintain the building? And I know you say the details aren't finalized yet, but maybe you could give us a brief idea of what the purchase will look like, how much they'll pay, and I guess they'll assume the mortgage.
Well, we're hoping they assume the mortgage. The details have not been worked out. I mean, this deal could fall apart, although I don't expect it to fall apart. Any deal can fall apart until you sign on the dotted line. To your first question, anywhere between $10,000 and $20,000 a year, and at times. That's an average. At times, it's been more. I can tell you that we've twice been through a sewer problem where the sewer in the basement opened up from the bathrooms, and we had a mess downstairs. And what happens is that the roots of these trees, looking for water, crack the pipes and then clog the pipes, and before we know it, we have a mess on our hands. So sometimes those situations cost more, but on average, it's $10,000 to $20,000 deficit every year. Okay, I have one more question.
So, with that, not focusing on the River Garden, where will you be putting your energies next?
Well, every year we have a work plan, and we invite our members, and our downtown property owners who are already members, the merchants. We invite everybody to be part of the process to determine what the work plan will be for the following year. So there is no, at this point, what our last work plan, and if you all remember, it was an excruciating process because we received money. The Downtown Investment District was created to fund Building a Better Brattleboro, so not only to have stability in our funding going forward, but also not to compete with all the organizations out there with their hands out. You know, it's difficult when you have to make a choice between giving money to the Boys and Girls Club or Building a Better Brattleboro, and I could go on forever. So in order to not compete, Building a Better Brattleboro went down the road of forming it's called by a lot of different names, but in our case it's the Downtown Investment District, and the downtown property owners pay an additional tax to support the organization. As part of the requirement, BABB goes to the select board every year with our budget. We go more often to just give them an update. It's a way of us being able to give the public an update of where the organization is, where we're going. And the process is we present our work plan and budget to the select board, and this is after we've had our meetings with our members and everybody else, the downtown property owners, the businesses. And they then approve it and pass it along to the town meeting reps for final approval. So those of you who saw it the last round, it was a difficult process, but I think a really good process in the end. This year we've allocated money to the flower program, to a lot of promotion, to revamping the organization. I don't have the plan with me. It's available. It's up there. Again, this is not a private organization. This is a public organization. We want flexibility. We want to be able to really respond to what our property owners and our businesses in downtown want. And to have a healthy downtown, it's a three-part process. It's, yes, filling the stores on the main street, but there's also businesses that exist on the second floors and residential that exist on the third, fourth, fifth floors. And Building a Better Brattleboro is here to shepherd that. And so to say that we are going to accomplish everything that's in our work plan every year, we hope we do, but this year we hope we have enough money to be responsive to things like any emergency or any great project that comes forward. And I can tell you we're all very excited about the Brooks House. So I think keeping downtown clean, promoting downtown so that more visitors and more of our residents feel enticed and comfortable in our downtown area, supporting promotions that happen like the Literary Festival, like the Southern Vermont Dance Festival that just wound up. We were the umbrella group for the Southern Vermont Dance Festival. It was hot, but it was quite remarkable. And again, another young woman whose vision and dedication to downtown Brattleboro put this together. I'd like to thank Brenda Siegel, because she worked tirelessly, and BABB helped Brenda by being the fiduciary organization so that she could access our 501c3 in order to get funds to produce this event. I think it was the first annual, and I believe that down the road there will be more annual Southern Vermont Dance Festivals. And it reminds me of a wonderful story, and a story that I told when I was last president of Building a Better Brattleboro. Dwight Miller, who was also up there watching over us now, came to a Building a Better Brattleboro meeting, and he said in his own way, you know, I think that downtown Brattleboro needs an event, and I think cows walking up Main Street would be great. And it grabbed the board, took line and sinker, and it turned out shortly after that we found out that there was a group meeting led by Orly Munzing. We partnered with the group. I think it was Walking of the Heifers, and there were many meetings. The name was changed to Strolling of the Heifers. We again were the umbrella organization. We partnered, and the rest is history. It has become a signature event at downtown Brattleboro, and it couldn't give me more pleasure than to pass this building on to the Strolling of the Heifers and introduce to you Orly Munzing.
recording. Everybody else has their own microphone.
Okay. Like that?
Yeah.
Well, this is very exciting, and it's a privilege to have Strolling in the Heifers as the next shepherd of building a better Brattleboro. We see it as an incredible situation for both Brattleboro, for the community, and as a special place where people can come and learn about the agricultural legacy that is in Vermont. And that's what we're hoping to do here, is to create intergenerational events that will be open to the public. Everyone is going to be welcome. Allow and have partnerships with nonprofits to use this place. And the first thing we're going to do is, first thing on the list is get an air conditioner. By hook or by crook, we're going to do that, as well as we want to place some sort of a kitchen. We don't know what it is now, but there are a couple of architects who are volunteering their time to help us think about that. So this is a community building, and we invite the community, just like we did with Strolling to the Heifers, to come, join us, and celebrate, and help us think of how this place should function and be. We're very, very excited.
Orly and I can now talk to each other. What Orly said when she walked by me, she said, "Can we talk to each other now?" Because during this whole process, we have just been, and during this process has the Strolling of the Heifer parade and event and Slow Living Summit has been, I'm so emotional. Was put on, and I am part of that process, so it's been very difficult. Orly and I have formed a great friendship, and we have honored our commitments, and we have not spoken about the process at all. So I can cry, and I can kiss, and I can laugh now, and I can thank you all for coming. It's been a long journey, and I hope that this community will honor BABB's commitment and will honor the Strolling commitment by supporting financially and otherwise this building, because I know after all of this long time that there isn't one organization or one individual that can do it. We've received a lot of praise. We've also received a lot of criticism, and I hope those who have criticized will now put their money and their time where their mouths have been, and will step forward and really continue to make this a great building that our community can be proud of. Thank you all.